watercoloring some cards today, so I thought I'd take you along for the ride. I'm going to try and do this in real time as much as possible so I don't have to edit. So here we go. I'm using SunnysEyes and this lovely stamp. I don't know which company it's from right off the top of my head, but I love it. It's one of my very favorites. So I'm just going to kind of stamp this in the corner like this. This is a card, a piece of watercolor paper that's just cut down, and I'm going to use it for a card, and that did not stamp well at all. I'm going to try doing it on the smooth side of this piece, because that didn't come out good. And it did just re-ink my SunnysEyes, so I don't think it's that. If I hold it down here just a little bit longer, it'll give a chance for that ink to push into all the little bumps. That's better. I think I can touch up those little lines if I need to. Yeesh, I need a new baby wipe, because that is bad juju waiting to happen right there. End up with myself all mucked up and my page all mucked up. There. I'm going to make a mark on here so I know where you're focused at, because otherwise I'll just have it right out of the way in no time. I am going to do this with watercolor, and I need to grab a pen and sort of fill in these last little lines here that just didn't quite make it. Just give them a little extra something there. Just touch up a couple of these too, just so they look a little more crisp. It's probably not going to really matter, but it gives it a little something there. Okay, so I have my rinse well. I'll show you right here. Nifty little thing. When you push it, it flushes and gives you new water. Excellent for watercolors. I have to say I'm not as excited about it with acrylics, just simply because acrylics tend to dry onto that plastic a little easier. So I just use it for watercolor. I kind of want to wet the whole paper and give it kind of a little color to float around in the back there. So I'm just going to take, this is a synthetic, but it's kind of like a sable. It holds like a ton of water. Like this one brush full, I'll be able to wet this whole part of the paper that I want to work on. And then it also, if you kind of do this, it snaps to a nice point. So I mean, for that big of a brush, this is a number 12. And I don't know if you can, let me see if I can get where you can see here. Where are we? There we are. Okay. See how good of a point it snaps to. And this is a number 12. It's, against my hand, it's this big. So it's a good sized brush. Now that I have my paper kind of wet, you know, I think I might even want it, I'm going to wet it again, because I really, really want my colors to go somewhere. So, and I'm going right over the edge of the flower petals because I don't care. Those are all painted probably like a different kind of color, but I want some green of some leaves kind of just to be suggested in here. And this is my favorite color. This is green gold. And I believe it's by Winsor & Newton, and it is my favorite. If you put it on really dark, it's kind of a darker green, and then it kind of bleeds into a yellow green as the saturation disappears. you know, as you use less water with it. Or more water, what did I say? Okay, yeah. It's one of those kind of days. I did not get my nap today. You think kids need naps? Oi. This mama needs naps more than my kids ever did when they were little. And I think that this green that I'm using is Hooker's green. I know, why would they name it Hooker's green, right? Probably it was named before Hooker meant hooker. And it was probably the guy's last name. What do you think? I'm guessing, yeah. Add a little bit of some more green down in there. So now my water's green. I pushed the button. I got clean water. I know, I'm really get excited about water, right? Okay. I am going to take a little bit of phthalo blue, you know, watered down pretty much, so it's just faint. I don't want to have a lot of blue. I just want to have a little touch of blue in here. And phthalo is a kind of a green blue, and it's very staining. It's more like a dye-based color rather than sedimentary, I believe, which is why it stains so nicely. Because the granular type of paints, ones that are made with ground up minerals and that kind of thing, they are like itty bitty teeny tiny sand, and they tend to stay on top of the paper more, and so you can lift them easier. And phthalo is kind of different. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, they all are made of something different, some kind of dye based stuff, I believe, that will sink right into your paper. And my paper is warping horribly, so I'm gonna do this. I'm just painting the back with water. It's just going to get the back of the card wet as well, and hopefully it'll kind of reverse some of that warping a little bit. I'm just going to kind of squinch it down onto my paper for a minute. Because if you get your paper wet on both sides, they're equally, you know, it doesn't bow. So this should help it sit still a little better. It'll also kind of stick to my paper, and I'm not in frame. There we go. I just painted the back, and now that I stick it down, it's not warping nearly as bad. It was really round, you saw. Okay, I'm gonna wet my flowers, but I'm not gonna go quite to the edge of the flowers. I mean, really, I should probably wait until it's dry to do this part so that they don't bleed into each other, but I am going to go ahead and do it anyway. I'm gonna do an all over wash of a really pale pink. And let's see, I have this wonderful swatch that I did that's of my palette, so I know you can't really see it all at once because I have it zoomed in, but then I know what colors I'm using, so I can tell you, and if I need to replace them, I know which ones they are. And I'm going to use Phthalo Crimson, also called quinacridone red on the tube, and I'm just going to get some and put it in a puddle. And that doesn't seem like a pale pink. It kind of seems a little brighter maybe, but keep in mind that watercolors dry 2 to 3 shades lighter than what they go down on the paper. So if you think your paint is kind of light on the paper, it's going to end up way lighter than what you want. So let me plug in my heat gun and get us going again here a little bit. Okay. I don't have to dry it a whole lot, but it needs to be a little bit. And look at how the pink kind of flooded out into the green and made some cool blooms. I'll do that here. I'll move this a little bit too. I like it. Okay, that is good enough. Now, I think I'm going to take some more of that Phthalo Crimson. And I'm going to mix it with a touch of Quinacridone Violet. I like the Quinacridone colors. They're very happy and bright. And I'm just going to kind of, and it seems really dark there, and it's going to be a little bit dark, but remember, like I said, it is going to grow a lot lighter as it dries. Get these, I want my darks in there for right now, and then we'll see how it goes. Get a little bit more mix going here. And look at these little tiny things right there. I can paint such tiny little bits because this brush comes to such an amazing, wonderful point. And what brush is this? This is a Princeton Neptune, number 12 round. I love it. I have a couple of other sizes too that I really like. I love these brushes for watercolor. They're freaking amazing. They're not as stiff. They don't have as much of a snap as some of the other brushes that I have. But I like them because they hold a lot of water, and you can really get in there and add what you need, or flood your paper. I mean, like for flooding this paper, it takes, you know, one brush full or two. You don't have to keep going back and forth to your water. I love it. And see, these are kind of blending out a little bit because the paper was still wet there where it wasn't so much there. And I'm going to just soften this edge of this bloom here and kind of do the dabby thing. See, it's not so bad. Just that one particular one, I don't know why it was bugging me, but it was. Okay. Now I'm going to dry again really quick. Sorry for the sound. See how it curls up as it dries? It's because this side is drier than this side, so you can kind of flatten it back down. I got water under there. And kind of just flatten that puppy back out. Get that little corner there. There. Much better. Okay, now I want to come in with some actual pink. There's a lot of purple there, and I have to dump my water real quick. Sorry, my arm's right in the way, but my water is directly that way, so I have too much stuff on my studio, or my table in my studio. Now for the pink, I am going to go back to the Phthalo Crimson and get a little bit of water. I need to rinse my brush better. I still have that little bit of that purple in there, I think. Okay, lots of water to douse it down. Adding just a little bit of pink back in. And I'm going to add a touch of Naphthol Red to the mix so that it's pinkier rather than purplier. Yeah, that's a word. Say that in front of your kid's teacher and see what they think. And the cool thing about this particular type of watercolor paper is I can add a little bit of water to a spot I want to lift, and this particular color is not going to lift a lot, but you can use a damp rag and you can pull back the color some. This particular color, like I said, the ones with the phthalo, they are staining. This particular color is staining. I think both of the colors I used to make this mix are staining, so it's not going to lift a lot. So you just, with a damp brush, just put water on the area you want and move it around just a little bit. Don't scrub hard, and then just lift it off, and it just lightens those edges just a little bit. And where it's really still wet, it's a lot easier to lift. You can lift it back quite a lot. There. And this one I want to lift back just a little bit. There. And I like the little bits of white that are left in there. So, hey hon, you filming? I'll be out in a minute. That was my hubby checking in. I did not put my sign up on the door that says filming, don't come in here. Now that that background is a little drier, I'm going to add just a little bit more of the greens in. We use those same two colors, Hooker's Green and Green Gold. And I'm just going to give a little bit more definition. Give it some darks to kind of go up against there. A little of the gold in there. I'm going to kind of go right over where that spot that I didn't like is and add a little color here and there. Those are pretty wet. They'll mix some while they're on the paper there. Those dark colors will kind of bleed into the lighter green gold. And I really like this area. I like what's happening. I like the colors. I like the kind of the bloom, that cauliflower looking edge. I like the bloom. And I even like that lighter. Even though it's got a touch of blue, I like that it's lighter. And I'm going to leave that. I'm going to add a little in there. Just going to take my thirsty brush, which means it's damp, but I've sopped most of the water out of it. So because it's drier than the puddle of paint, it will soak it right up. A little plus right there. Just going to kind of put in a shadow of a leaf down in there. Maybe another one in here. Just using the teensiest bit of Hooker's Green on there. I like Hooker's Green, and I like sap green too. And the green gold's my favorite, and I mix the rest of my greens. I mean, usually when I use greens, I mix them all. Those are my favorite ones to start with. Well, that is it for this time. I kind of have you off frame just a little bit there, but I just kind of put the greens in there, and as it dries, they'll slowly sort of mix and be really pretty. And I love this flower, so I'm so glad I got to do that. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of dark right to the center here, just because I think that that's where it's kind of underneath is going to be a little dark, I think. So I like that. Ooh, that's nice. Maybe add a couple of little spots here. And this is, I think it might be dioxazine purple with a little bit of the phthalo crimson in it. I picked up a spot that already had a little bit already mixed on my palette, so but that looks like the dioxazine. Purples are really hard to get nice purples, mix nice purples, and pinks are hard to do. So I have a few colors that I like for that, and I love the phthalo crimson for pinks because it is very pinky. you're not going to be able to see. Oh, this video looks like it's going to be really dark. I don't know why. But Phthalo Crimson is more pinky color, and I really like that one. Also, Naphthol Red is really kind of more of an on the orange side of red, but it makes a really nice pink. So those are two that I use. But purples are hard to get just the purple you want sometimes. So I use Dioxazine Purple and Phthalo Crimson and Quinacridone Violet to get my purples, and I mix them with whatever I need to do that with. So let me dry this a little bit. I'll wait. I'll dry this a little bit, and then I'll put a picture at the end. So thanks for watching. Bye.